The Finger Lakes region, it's not just for wine anymore. Breweries are making a name for themselves throughout this area of New York, and we're going to show you what the new face of craft beverage looks like. In the country, in the city, and on the water, on this episode of Brewed in New York.
Discover even more local foods and beverages at Taste New York locations throughout the state. Whether you're at a state park, sporting event, or stopping at one of our New York welcome centers, it's never been easier to choose local and buy New York. Unilam, a family-owned business in upstate New York serving the building industry for over a century. You can spot Unilam's finely crafted timber products in breweries throughout New York State and beyond. Learn more at unilam.com. 1886 Malt House, proudly partnering with New York's finest grain growers to produce locally sourced, high-quality malt for farm and craft breweries. The Northeast Hop Alliance, farmers, brewers, and educators working together to provide high-quality, locally grown hops to craft beer consumers in New York and the Northeast.
"9,000 square miles and 14 counties make up the official Finger Lakes region of New York State.
And while we'll be making our way down to wine country, we're going to start this episode a little further north.
Syracuse is the Finger Lakes' largest urban center, perhaps known best to tourists as the host of the Great New York State Fair.
This 12-day showcase of agriculture, entertainment, and technology has been a part of summer in New York since 1841. And now draws over 1 million visitors each year.
But if you can't make it for the fair, there are several breweries in the area that you can visit in any season. One of them has been blazing the trail for all New York State brewers for decades.
New York is known as the Empire State, a nickname to reference its abundant resources. It appears everywhere, from iconic buildings to license plates, and even on a brewery that has built a small empire of its own. Welcome to the brand new Empire Farmstead Brewery, a 40,000 square foot facility located on 22 acres of farmland about 20 miles from Syracuse in the town of Cazenovia. We're visiting just before the official grand opening in 2016, but they're already producing beer in this facility, and you can still smell the aroma of lumber mixing with fresh malt and hops. I'm here to meet with Dave Katleski, the founder and president. The journey to where we stand today didn't happen overnight. It actually began over 20 years ago when David was working with a shopping mall developer in Syracuse. So in a nutshell, tell me about how you started and founded Empire Brewing.
My college roommate once told me that if I ever wanted to open a restaurant, let him know. And I fell in love with Syracuse and thought that downtown needed a little shot in the arm. So I called my college roommate, and ironically, he was at the Northampton Brew Pub. And he's like, dude, there's this concept called a brew pub where we could like make beer and have the restaurant at the same time. And I was like, that sounds awesome, let's do it. So that's where it all came together, and that was 1992. And we set out to be one of the first craft breweries in New York State. We chose Armory Square in Syracuse because the basement rent was $3 a square foot, and that's all we could afford.
The original Empire Brew Pub in Syracuse is still there and has operated continuously since it first opened. The casual atmosphere is enhanced by the cozy, tucked-away feeling. The brewing facility is housed in glass to provide patrons with a view of their beer being born. And this restaurant knows how to pair the best of local brew with the best of local fare.
If anyone were to ask us any of the menu items, we would know what to pair with it. Like an IPA is good at cutting something spicy down. The amber ale is really good with pizza, complementing like an Italian type flavor. The white afro would be good with desserts. I think people are drawn to our locally sourced beer. Also, we have a lot of Louisiana-style Southern cuisine. I like our really funky flavored beers. Like I like our local grind. It's flavored with coffee. I like the deep purple flavored with Concord grapes. You can see the Eat Where You Live right above our stairs, so that's a huge thing for us. We like to incorporate as much local produce, meats, distilleries as possible.
Empire now is known for using fresh, locally sourced ingredients. Was that always a part of the business right from the beginning?
It wasn't until 2007 we did a carbon footprint analysis of our food and determined that the average piece of food on the plate that our customer was eating had traveled 3,000 miles. And it blew me away.
The average?
Yes. One of the reasons why we chose this farmstead location is directly across the street is a beef farmer. Part of the deal here is that all of our spent grains now go directly across the street to feed his cattle. Now that's going to obviously save him on feed over the course of the year. We're going to produce 100 tons or whatever of spent grain, and he'll go and feed his cattle. That's pretty cool.
It's this kind of progressive thinking that has earned David a reputation as something of a visionary in the craft beer industry. Just consider a quick list of his achievements. He started a brew pub before the idea really even caught on in New York. And Empire was the first company, not just the first brewery, to use 100% New York-produced renewable energy. And back when David was one of only a handful of craft brewers trying to scratch out a living in a world dominated by big domestic producers and foreign imports, he founded the New York State Brewers Association, an organization that promotes all New York State brewers. And now, Empire has expanded from the basement brew pub producing about 800 barrels of beer a year to the new facility that has its sights set on all of New York and beyond. We're standing here in the new facility on the farmstead. It's gorgeous and it's huge.
Yeah.
You've been with the company for how long?
9 years now with Empire, yeah.
This is a big change of pace from the old spot.
It really is. I mean, you know, the old spot is a 7-barrel brew pub system that had been there for 20 years, and this is obviously a more state-of-the-art, much larger 60-barrel system that we have here.
I love how people sitting at the bar are facing the bottling line. I saw the bottling machine going earlier, and it takes several people working it, but there's a lot of automation too, and the bottles are being rinsed and filled and labeled all automatically.
Yeah, and you know, part of the concept behind it being able to see in the brew house is you've been to the original brew pub in Syracuse, the brewery is right there. You know, open glass, you can see in what's going on there. So we, even though this is much larger, we wanted to carry that experience over here. And when people come in, if we're out here working, they can take a peek and see what we're doing.
Right now, there's a lot of tanks in here, but there's also a lot of open space.
Yep.
And so you're telling me that the idea is to expand this and really fill up the warehouse with more fermenters.
We designed the place for expansion so we could grow our barrelage without having to add to the building. So everything that we bought, our boiler, our hot water tanks, our air compressors, all of that stuff is sized to get to 100,000 barrels a year.
I saw on social media today pictures of your new bottles on shelves at grocery stores around the state.
I don't have any children, but I said to people, now I think I know what it's like to have a kid, because that was like my baby being born and going out into the world. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. I actually went last night and bought a 6-pack just for the experience of doing that. It was
amazing.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
Congratulations
Thanks,
on that.
man. I appreciate that.
So the distribution of your beer has also grown, and now you're even taking it overseas.
Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that we were going to be shipping beer to China.
But they are, as one of just a few craft brewers doing so. It all came together when David had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go to China with a group of business professionals put together by New York State.
We happened to go to this amazing company called Zhongwei Futi, which is in Xi'an, which is central China. And Mr. G, who is the owner of the company, and I hit it off. He said, you should make a beer with my tea. And I said, that sounds great. And we had determined that we were born 31 days apart in the year of the dragon, and I said, and we'll call it Two Dragons. China is about 25 years behind where the US is in terms of craft beer. The difference between China and the US is China moves much faster. When they see something that's cool or Western,
it can explode.
It can explode. Yeah. So I believe in the next 5 years, they're going to catch up to us in terms of popularity for craft beer.
David went so far as to hire export specialist Jing Zhang in order to help him better understand the Chinese market. She saw an opportunity for Empire's unique collaboration in creating Two Dragons to help promote understanding between the US and China.
beer is just such a non-political thing that everybody can enjoy. And because of the Two Dragons blending with the two cultures so well in a bottle of beer, that could be an awesome bridge that we can set up for the two countries. When people drink a beer, especially craft beer, they want to know the story behind it. And that's the key for the two different cultures to blend in together.
Empire has had some amazing growth. I mean, we're sitting here at this beautiful farmstead brewery. It's an exciting time for the company.
It's exciting, it really is. When I could have just sat back and enjoyed the success of our brew pub with a name like Empire and the reputation of our brand and the amount of awards that we won, it to me only made sense that we took it to the next level.
Well, keep those good ideas coming.
Thanks.
At Brewed in New York, it's clear we appreciate finely crafted beverages. There are so many styles of beer out there to try, but please remember to always drink responsibly. When you visit a brewery, appoint a designated driver or use public transportation. Never drink and drive.
Heading southwest from Syracuse, you end up in the heart of New York's wine country, in an area known as the Finger Lakes. This series of 11 narrow lakes was carved out by glaciers 2 million years ago, and today those deep waters feed hundreds of vineyards along their shores. And while the area is a grape destination for red and white lovers alike, beer tourists have started making their way down the beverage trail as well. On the southern tip of Seneca Lake, you'll find the town of Watkins Glen. This hamlet is known as a destination for both nature lovers and those with a thirst for speed. Watkins Glen is home to an historic racetrack that now brings NASCAR to the area each summer, and a state park that was voted the best in the nation, with a series of trails and cascading waterfalls you won't find anywhere else. After a long day on the trails or at the track, stop by the nearby village of Hector and visit the new kids in town at Two Goats Brewing.
I'm John Rogers, and I brew beer at Two Goats Brewing. Well, our story was following our passion, our dream. I guess it materialized in Hector, New York, on beautiful Seneca Lake.
People come to this region for the wineries and for the lakes. It's great for us to be in the wine country. Most of our friends that live here work in the wine industry. There's actually a saying, to make great wine, you have to drink beer.
The name Two Goats came from a German variety of beer called Doppelbock, and loosely translated, it's double goat. A lot of times you'll see Bock beers depicted with a goat on its label, because that's a Bock.
So you can see the goats on the tap handles. Our front door has a goat. You know, goats are fun, so it's a fun marketing idea.
Doppelbock, it's a tendency to be malt forward. They're a little higher octane, a little higher ABV. The bodies are a little richer, a little more viscous on the palate, so it'll have a little sweetness, light and hop, compelling and rich. My inspiration for brewing stems from my passion for food and cooking and being in the kitchen. And beer to me is fermented barley soup. And the most popular varieties tend to be the IPAs. We brew 3 pails, the Goatmaster Ultra Pale, Goat Soul Session IPA, and our X IPA, which is our continually evolving experiment IPA.
The only food that we serve is beef on wick, which is a roast beef sandwich on Kemmelwick roll. It's popular in Buffalo, that's where it originates, so anyone from Buffalo knows about it. Almost everyone else outside of Buffalo has never heard of it.
My mom and dad are both from Western New York. As a kid growing up, beef on wick was commonly the main course at all of our family functions. Then I want to incorporate family into our business. That was just a no-brainer for us, and it's worked great. People really do come for the sandwich. They are delicious. I think my record is 13 in a week.
So the building is from the 1800s. The barn originally was 4 miles up the road, so we took it down piece by piece and then put it back up on this location. The old barn wood is on the inside, and then there's new wood on the outside.
The interior of the building definitely speaks of the region. The hand-hewn beams, the materials came from here and obviously are still here. If I have anything to say about it, it'll be around for 150 more for the next generation to enjoy.
We heard that there were some wild parties in the barn, and it definitely has a reputation of being a very social place. And we actually feel like that is in the wood because there's a good feel here, and I don't think it's all just what we've done. I think the barn wood actually contributes to that. The building is 700 square feet, and then we have the brewery underneath. In the summer, when we have our major tourist season, we can have a lot more people here because of the decks. In the winter, we're not all that busy anyway, so it ends up being very cozy in here and comfortable. When you look up, you'll notice dollar bills all over the ceiling, and that started the first year that we were open. A customer asked us if we wanted to see a cool bar trick. So he said, give me $1. He put a tack in the center of the dollar bill, put a 50-cent piece behind the tack, and then underhand threw it up. The 50-cent piece pushes the tack into the ceiling and it falls back down. Now the bartenders do it. I guess it was about 2.5 years ago we decided to donate them. We ended up donating $5,400 to local environmental funds that help protect the water.
I mean, just look around and you realize what we have here in the Finger Lakes. When we started Two Goats, the idea was the business has to live and grow within its means. With that in mind, we incorporated solar power. We produce about 90% of our own energy on site. We also use geothermal technology for heating and cooling. Our leftover grain is fed to livestock.
We kind of lucked out with the view. I realized that when you Google Two Goats Brewing images, you get mostly the view. So I thought, we should do something fun with that and have people come here and purposely take pictures.
I've seen 100 pictures taken off this deck and I never get sick of it because they all tell just a little different story each and every time. And I love the fact that you can see something completely different through someone else's eyes, not just your own, each and every day. And people remind us of that when they send us their photos and share their good times with us and introduce us to their friends and family that are coming back again and again. It's great to be a part of that. The best part of Two Goats is to be able to exist in a region that truly appreciates the art of craft.
Chances are, if you've ordered a beer at any bar in the country, you've seen one of these, the classic shaker pint. As the name suggests, the shaker pint was originally used in bars for making mixed drinks. But when was the last time you shook a beer on purpose? Let's talk glassware. Bars and restaurants love shaker pints because the flat sides make them easy to clean and stack. But the shape of this glass does very little to help deliver the aroma of that finely crafted beer in your hand. Oh yeah, and the longer that you hold one, the more your hand warms your beer. Very refreshing. Fortunately, many craft breweries know that there's life beyond the shaker pint. In fact, the shape of a glass can really influence your beer tasting experience. And there's a whole range of glasses that have been designed to enhance the qualities of different styles. Take the Pilsner glass. Its tall and slender shape showcases the color of lighter beers and actually aids in the carbonation of these bubbly styles. The Weizen glass looks similar, but tapers in at the top. Weizen is German for wheat, and the curved lip on the top of this glass is designed to trap and maintain a thick foam head, along with all the aroma found in German wheat beers. If you're drinking a more complex Belgian beer or a fuller-bodied IPA, you're best off with a tulip or a snifter-shaped glass, which helps trap the flavorful hop oils and spices underneath the head, but still gives you plenty of room to get your nose in there and really take in the aroma. Plus, the stem keeps your warm hand off the goods. Now we're talking. So when you visit a craft brewery, look at the specialty glassware and notice how they're used to complement certain styles. But don't get too upset if your next beer shows up in one of these. After all, it's still got craft beer inside it.
Craft brewers love to draw their inspiration from the places they call home. And that's true in the small town of Auburn, where a new brew pub has taken its cue from an unexpected source. If you're doing a little time here, please be sure to check out Prison City Brewing. You may not think the big house and beer naturally go together, but brew pub founder Dawn Schultz and husband Mark wanted to pay homage to the city's most prominent feature. Dawn is one of the small but growing number of female brew pub owners across the state, and she invited me to discuss how she broke into the business.
First of all, this is the first time I've been to Auburn. It is absolutely beautiful. What drew you here and to open a business here?
When I was leaving high school, I swore I was never coming back. But after college and then being away for 15 years and starting a family, I wanted to move back to the area because my family is here. I love Auburn. The community is amazing, the lakes are gorgeous, and it just seemed like home to be back here. I always have had a passion for craft beer, so it seemed like the right time and the right fit to open a brew pub.
And why the name?
Auburn has the nickname Prison City. It is the home of Auburn Correctional Facility, which is a federal prison, which is kind of famous. It was the first electric chair, so there's a neat history behind the prison itself. And we just thought it fit. A lot of the photos on the wall are historic photos of the prison.
I love that.
We hired a design firm, and they came up with the logo, which is a lock with a Pilsner glass inside of it.
It's clear that Prison City takes its theme seriously, albeit a little tongue-in-cheek, right down to the names of the beers. Dawn's husband, Mark, in addition to being co-owner, is also known as the name guy.
I am the name guy. I think beer is meant to be fun. It is art, and it should be handcrafted, but it should be fun. So coming up with names like Cool Hand Cuke, a lot of movie references. We're just always looking for things, and especially if it piques somebody's interest, like they're like, aha, I know why you named that beer, and it gets people engaged and creates a conversation.
Dawn and Mark have even put their own prison-themed spin on a popular brew pub activity.
I can see behind me here, we have some mug shots. I assume that's not from the prison.
Not that I know of. Some of them might have other mug shots. Most breweries tend to do a mug club where it's discounted pints or things like that, but being prison themed, we have a mug shot wall. So everybody gets their picture taken. We try to do different tastings each month, whether they be blind tastings, beer trivia. My husband will come in and teach people about different hops or different yeasts, different styles of beer. That's actually one of the reasons that I love the brew pub model, because I feel like we're the front line to introducing people to craft beer, and it's been fun.
And that combination of fun and serious craft extends across the business. It's what attracted brewer Ben Maeso to Prison City. Ben doesn't lock himself into a particular style of brewing.
I started out as being a traditional brewer in terms of the types of beer I made, and then as soon as I kind of figured that all out, I enjoy to be challenged. I like to make lagers, I enjoy making wild beers, sour ales, really, especially sour beers tend to be very unpredictable. Working with Dawn's been great. She pretty much gives me carte blanche as far as the brewery goes, which is amazing because I don't have any restraints. I can do whatever I want. I can put cereal in beer, I can put weird fruits and different ingredients in beer. We produce just about 250 barrels a year, which is really small in the grand scheme of things. But on the other hand, it's great because we get to experiment a lot with all these small batches. We get to have a lot of fun. If we were in a big production brewery, we'd probably have to make the same 4 flagship beers all the time. So we enjoy the fact that it's small and I get to keep being creative in my process. We have one beer called Puff Puff Shiv, which is an English-style brown ale made with actual Cocoa Puff cereal. So cleaned out a couple stores of all their Cocoa Puffs, added it to the beer, really didn't know what was gonna happen. Ended up tasting and smelling exactly like Cocoa Puffs, and everybody loved it, especially those that love chocolate, those that love dark beers.
I originally didn't think that I would ever hire a home brewer, but he was voted New York State Home Brewer of the Year. He has hundreds of awards.
I came up for my interview and I brought 10 of my best home brews, brought my own glassware. I think having the right glasses is crucial to the beer. A lot of bars serve out of those old shaker pints, and it's probably one of the worst things you can drink out of. I'm a glass geek in addition to being a beer geek.
Before the end of the interview, I already knew it was going to happen. I knew he was the guy. It was a great fit.
Being a female pub owner, are you in a unique club? And if you are, do you consider yourself a trailblazer?
I think that there are trailblazers that have come before me, but I certainly do think that we're a minority in the business. I am a member of the Pink Boots Society, who has probably blazed the trail. They've been around for quite a while, and it is a women's organization that is set up to try to introduce women to craft beer, and they do a lot of education and scholarships for women to get into the brewing industry. Girls Pint Out is a group of women that I've put together in the Auburn area to try to create a craft beer community for women.
I would love to know if you have any advice for anybody, but women in particular, for starting a brew pub business.
Oh, as a woman, I would say just go for it. I sat on a panel of women in the industry one time, and one of the big things that came out of it is women were intimidated to be able to speak about beer because they felt that they didn't know enough. And my advice is you really do. If you're drinking it, you're already halfway there. But really, in general, the craft beer community is all embracing, and I've had great relationships with men and women. This community wants to help you. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Did you get a chance to try that chocolate cereal beer?
The Puff Puff Shiv, I sure did, and it's truly one of a kind. Although if you love IPAs like I do, they have an award-winning IPA as well.
Nice. And you can learn more about these stories, as well as other popular breweries throughout the Finger Lakes region at our website, brewedandnewyorkshow.com.
There you'll also find information about New York State tourism, as well as full episodes.
Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you next time on Brewed in New York.